My name is David Dick, also known as Samat. I'm from the Sanghees First Nation. My father is Lachichala, Dr. Baptist Skip Dick from Sanghees. My mom is Linda Dick. She is of Swiss Norwegian descent. I have four other siblings, and I have three daughters and a son, and three grandchildren. Prior to working here, um, I was working with Pakwachin First Nations for a year, where I set up a Marine department, starting from scratch, where we started a Pakwachin Marine Officer program. And then prior to that, I was working with the federal government for just about 12 years, working with Gulf Islands National Park Reserve, working in the cultural resource management section, and then the First Nations section. And so with the CRM section, acronym, sorry, um, part of the federal government lingo, uh, it's what was it? It was a combination of looking looking after archaeology sites or culturally sensitive sites, um, cultural heritage sites, newcomer sites, and cultural landscapes. And then with the First Nations department, it was having talks with the First Nations that have interests within Gulf Islands National Park Reserve. So it, and then prior with my education background, I have a Bachelor of Arts with a major in First Nations Studies, a certificate in Indigenous Governance and Leadership, and then a diploma in Cultural Resource Management. My title is right now is the Southern Resident Killer Whale Senior Manager. And before I go into discussing like what my role is, and I need to share a quote that was shared by an elder from Sartla. And I got this piece of paper, so don't mind me while I look down on it. It was Tom Sampson, the elder from Sartla, and he was in front of in 2018. He was in front of the Energy Board at the TMX hearing, and he said the following. He sang a grieving song to at this meeting that was passed on to him from his grandmother, and offered it to Telequin and her baby. And for those of you who don't know who it is, who Telequin is, that's the one of the killer whales that's been famous all over the news, where she carried her dead calf around for 17 days. And what he said, and this part of the quote that he said to them, it really stuck to me when I first heard it. And I'll just read it and then we'll go from there. He said, he concluded by showing a photo of a mother whale clinging to a dead calf, saying the whale is just not a whale. This is our child. This is our relative. Even though in English they say she is a killer whale, she is not. She is a mother, and she cried for her child because it needed to show the world that something is wrong. And with what we are doing as people, it is not about politics. It is not about who we are and our relationship with the ocean and the land that we live in. And so that really stuck to me about what he said. And at that time, I was working with the Gulf Islands National Park Reserve. And so how does this come about to what I'm doing now? In the last few years, there was Grenit's Leadership Council began working with Parks Canada, Gulf Islands National Park Reserve. At the time, that's when I was working with them to establish a First Nation-led conservation program, which supports the conservation of the southern resident killer whale within and near Gulf Islands National Park Reserve. So we as First Nations people share a common goal in wanting to protect and monitor a southern resident killer whale. And I know I'm not getting right into details, but I'm leading up to what my work is going to be. But the southern resident killer whale are listed as an endangered species with a known population of 75 killer whales to date. And so for part of my role, when I had this opportunity, I applied for this position with the Wasanich Leadership Council because it's really important, to I want to continue working for our people, and it was really important that I do what I could to, I guess, be the successful candidate, as you know, as I am today, to have this opportunity to work with our people. And part of my job with this in our first year is we like to purchase a boat, like a landing craft that's suitable for us to conduct monitoring and research activities required for conservation of the SRKW. The other part is recruitment and do training for staff like myself, and in a little while we're looking to hire 3 on-water guardians. And then 3, we want to establish a community education outreach activities about the SRKW, whether through displays or on-water education, or looking at how we can help with their food supply. One of their major food supply is a Chinook, which is really hard for them, and there's a really limited supplies. So, and then lastly, I'm looking to establish a working group consisting of a few elders from the 3 Wasanich communities, a couple of language people, and technical workers, and have discussions about the SRKW on restoring our relationship with the southern resident killer whales. So I know that was quite a bit that I shared, and I didn't get to your point right away, but it was really important for me to share that quote from our elder Tom Sampson. And I apologize for not knowing his Cuomo name. I'm a contract for 4 years or 4 years.
4 years, okay.
It's basically, we're going to be setting up a guardian program, and with the things that I've already shared, and some of the other things I want to see us do with part of our program is to work with organizations like working with the Goldstream volunteer group, where they do fin clipping and counting of fish or salmon that go up the Goldstream River, and look at other ways for restoring the food for the southern resident killer whale, and work with other First Nation groups in our territory, and also like the federal government agencies. We can't do it all ourselves. It has to be a whole group helping out with the southern resident killer whales, because it's just not one group that can solve the problem. It's going to be everybody. And so overall, I would like to see guardian programs established in all our Wasanich nations, all 4 of them. Pakwichan's already doing it, and I hope that our other 3, Sartlup, Sayot, and Sycom. I believe Sycom is working on something right now, and it would be good to see all 4 nations on the water doing monitoring of everything from the southern resident killer whales to um, fish habitat and so on and so on. So it's about making presence on the water and showing who we are as Kwamo people. And so that kind of answer your question, yes and no, I guess, in a way. But for me, it's about for us having presence in the Salish Sea because we're water people.
Mm.
Um, right now, I was walking our family dog at 5 a.m. in the morning, and then just doing yard work and spending time with our grandkids. And when we see them, we usually see them a couple times a week, and then visiting with my mom and dad when I get an opportunity. So it's right now, like everybody in the pandemic, it's really taking it really easy. And for me, it's just about being outdoors. I love being outdoors. Just lastly, that I'm really excited to be working with Wasanich Leadership Council. And for me, it's kind of coming full circle because my dad's mom, late mom, Lila Paul, is from Sartlip, and that's where our office is located. And so for me, it's about reconnecting with my roots. And so I'm really excited to be working with Leadership Council and hoping to reconnect with some of my family that I haven't been able to connect with in a while or lately. And so it's a little bit extra special for me. And so I'm just really grateful to have this opportunity to work with the Wasanich Leadership Council and also be working, I guess, in a sense, my home territory and from my dad's mom's side of the family. So again, Haichka Siam.